First ever Super Bowl played on the 33rd day of the year. Seattle Seahawks equals 43, and they won 43-8. 10 years earlier, there was a Simpsons episode about this Super Bowl where the score was 17-16, a sum of 33 points. This ends up being the first Super Bowl ever played on the 33rd day of the year. Seahawks also has a Gematria of 33. Simpson, a word with 33 Gematria. Or excuse me, the score of that game was 19-14. 19-14, and Homer bet on the wrong team. In real life, this Super Bowl was the biggest earner for Vegas, making more than the 3 most profitable Super Bowls combined. So we talked about Manning. Here's Elway. John Elway in Gematria equals 41 like Broncos. Super Bowl also equals 41. USA equals 41. 41's the 13th prime. The Broncos, the team that ended the 13-game winning streak of the NFC and Super Bowls. It was John Elway to do it. Look at this name. First Super Bowl in the 47th season of the league. John, a name with 47 Gematria. First Super Bowl at the end of the 66th season. Elway, 66. How perfect, right? This guy's name is all about Super Bowls. His birth numerology, he's born on a date that's just like John Elway, 113. By the way, this is a very important number in Freemasonry. Scottish equals 113. It's Scottish Rite Freemasonry that created football. If you've been paying attention as I scrolled through numbers that I haven't talked about, there's been a lot of 113 for Super Bowl dates. Anyhow, Elway also born with a life lesson number of 50. Birth numerology of 32. Important number to the NFL. Important number to this nation. Here's another big clue from history. The last time the Panthers and Broncos played was on November 11th, 2012. The Broncos won that game 36-14, a sum of 50 points. Now here they are meeting in Super Bowl 50. They're meeting in Super Bowl 50. Broncos equals 41, Super Bowl 41. Very possible the Broncos go 4-1 and a perfect fit. Deflategate also equals 41 the small way. This is the season of Deflategate. The Broncos knocked off the Patriots, the Deflategators. But at the same time, and I'm going to do more on the Panthers, there's a narrative here for the Panthers as well. And if the Broncos lost, they'd be 3-2. 3-2. Right now, Manning and Elway both have losing Super Bowl records. Does the trend continue? There's an argument for that. But again, I think a little bit more lines up for the Broncos. So in the end, I'll say why I favor them. But don't quote me. Use your own stinks and knowledge. I'm just showing you how it's rigged. Doesn't mean I'm right in my predictions. Those of you who follow know that. I'm not always right. Here's that most recent AFC Championship game, the sum of 38 points for weeks before I was talking about the significance of 38 on this game. It's all there for your eyes, truth seeker. That's something I didn't mention, though, before. Peyton's favorite word is Omaha, right? Calls out a lot of Omaha. Omaha equals 38. Super Bowl on the 38th day of the year, lining up with his birthday, as we talked about. So now get this. Get this, truth seeker. If you don't know the history of the NFL, there used to be 2 football leagues, the American Football League, the National Football League. They merged and started having Super Bowls, Super Bowl 1, 2, 3, 4. Then they fully merged and became the same league, just becoming the NFL. The 5th Super Bowl was the first of the modern era. That's why Super Bowl 50 is the 46th of the modern era. So anyhow, it's now called the National Football League. And it's just one league, American Football Conference, National Football Conference. National Football League has Gematria of 85, the reflection of 58. Both of these numbers important. Freemasonry equals 58. This year, a lot of connections to the Bears, who won the Super Bowl in the 85 season, said to be one of the most dominant football teams ever. And again, Chicago, the birthplace of football. National Football League, 85. Starting in 85, in 1985, this is how it went with Super Bowls. 49ers won in 85. The Bears lost to the 49ers. The next year, the Bears overcame the 49ers and won the Super Bowl. And then there went on to be 13 in a row NFC championships. San Francisco was dominant at this time. Joe Montana. And think about how the 49ers are hosting this year. This Super Bowl with all these Chicago connections. The Packers, the last team to win for the NFC, they would lose the next year. In a rematch, the Broncos would win. The Broncos snapped this streak of 13 games. 41, the 13th prime. Broncos equals 41. John Elway equals 41. John Elway, the man to snap it. Green Bay, truth seeker, the small way, also equals 41. If you remember the NFC game, Packers versus Cardinals, it ended with a sum of 46 points after a Hail Mary to send it to overtime, throwing from the 41-yard line. Please see my videos on the Hail Marys, as well as the 61-yarder against Detroit. If you can believe it, this stuff is scripted. These guys are pros. They're well-oiled at this. They do it all by the numbers. It's mind-blowing when you're aware of it. The Broncos would then win Super Bowl 32. Remember, Denver and Broncos equals 32 and 33, ending the 13-game win streak that had a lot to do with Chicago and San Francisco, the major elements in this year's Super Bowl. Chicago equals 46, Levi's equals 46, or Levi's Stadium. Okay, so now I'm just going to throw some other interesting nuggets I've seen at you recently. After the Broncos went to the Super Bowl, CNN put up a top story on it. Their headline, the way they phrased it, had Gematria of 99, the year they last won the Super Bowl, and 270. In numerology, 0 doesn't count. 27, it'll be Manning's 27th playoff game. It's on 2-7. There's also Gary Kubiak. He got his first win this year against the Ravens, his former team. 32 points, the Denver number, the Broncos number. There's a story this year with Manning about him using HGH at the time of the playoffs. This same thing happened to Ray Lewis in history, who won with the Ravens and then retired. I see a similar story here with Manning possibly, and a link. Also, the Ravens last won a Super Bowl against the 49ers, Super Bowl 47, the one with the 33-minute blackout. Something I pointed out earlier in the year when I thought it was going to be a Panthers and Broncos Super Bowl, I noticed that Gary Kubiak's name synced up with Carolina Panthers. And this number's special. New World Order has that gematria. The New World Order is really an old world order. It's the Zionist-Masonic order that established this nation. This is another number they code. And it's interesting they're on these teams. Jerry Richardson, the owner of the Panthers, a Freemason. Anyhow, I saw that sync and I thought, maybe that's also another sign that they're the perfect matchup to face each other, and here they are. His name, the small way, also 66. He's got birth numerology of 103, this number that connects to Peyton, as well as his father that we talked about. Notice, again, 0 doesn't count in numerology, so that number's also a lot like 13. 13. 41, the 13th prime. I know it's a lot to keep straight. Go back and listen again if you need it all. This information's worth knowing, worth learning, will benefit you. So also I wanted to point this out. In the AFC Championship game, Manning was throwing wounded ducks for touchdowns on the first 2 drives. It was laughable. It was from number 18 to number 81. Remember, the Super Bowl this year is on a date with 18 numerology. 81, the reflection of 18. 18 plus 81's 99, like the last time the Broncos won a Super Bowl in the year 99. The man he was throwing him to was 33-year-old Owen Daniels. Broncos last won Super Bowl 33. His first touchdown to Daniels was 21 yards. The second one was 12 yards for a combined 33 yards on 2 touchdown receptions. You see how it's all rigged up, Truth Seeker? They really line up the hoaxes this good. That's how wounded ducks make it for touchdowns, when they come out of 39-year-old washed-up quarterback's hands. Manning's done. The only reason this is going on is because the NFL scripted. Somebody's watching going, no, Denver's defense is dominant. Yeah, it is dominant. But it's all scripted that way. Manning's done for. The Broncos wouldn't have made the playoffs if this was a real league. After the second touchdown, ESPN's tweeting about how Owen Daniels hasn't done anything like this in a really long time, and the last time he did it was with the Ravens. Remember, Kubiak coming over for the Ravens, beating the Ravens to start the season by the numbers. Also, something I want people to understand is that Peyton Manning's injury is a fraud. Hold on. I thought that's what I was pulling up here. There it is, Truth Seeker. He was edged after Week 10 with 322 attempts on the season. 322, a highly Masonic number, a number that gives away the scripted hoax that was. Week 10 is also the only week with 83 Gematria. Again, football equals 83. Manning born on the 83rd day. He got all sorts of tributes by the numbers this year. At age 39 years old, he defeated the Packers 29-10, a sum of 39 points on Sunday Night Football, which has Gematria 39. He tied Favre's record playing the Packers, wins by a QB with 186 against Green Bay. I mean, how fitting. Talk about scripted. The word landmark also has Gematria of 186. This is all part of Peyton Manning's swan song season. With regards to Von Miller, I have a feeling that he'll be the Super Bowl MVP should the Broncos win. He's wearing this number 58, important number on the season. His name in Gematria even sums to 85, if you can believe it. Numbers of focus this year. He's born on a date with 137 numerology, the 33rd prime. Born on a date with 38 numerology. The Super Bowl's on the 38th day this year. What's interesting to note is he was the second pick of the 2011 draft behind Cam Newton, the starting quarterback of the Panthers, who he faces. If the Panthers win, you're probably looking at the two most likely MVPs right here, Cam Newton or Von Miller. Something else I saw this season, Vernon Davis ended up on the Broncos, wears the number 85, played for the 49ers who are hosting the Super Bowl. Born on the date January 31st, the date in history that the Broncos won Super Bowl 33. Remember, Super Bowl equals 131, championship equals 131. Think about 1/31. And again, this Super Bowl is all about symbolism as well. They're actively waging a race war in the media. A lot of these headlines are coming out of Chicago and that region. No coincidence. This is where the Zionists operate out of, the divide and conquer people. And with regards to divide and conquer, think about sports in this nation. People always taught to, just like their team, hate people who don't cheer for their team. You go to professional sports games, you see real fights, people fighting over their teams, hurting each other. I went to a 49ers-Eagles game. It's the most violent thing I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't believe all the arrests just in my immediate section that I could see with my own eyes. And people just fighting over rigged sports. They don't even realize what they're watching. I point out also that the word even has Gematria 46 here, Truth Seeker. In the even years, the AFC gets to pick 46, the big number on it. The Broncos are wearing white. It says here in their orange that they are 0-4 in orange. And what I pointed out in the college championship this year, before it happened, I guaranteed Alabama would win. It was easy to read the way it was scripted. This Super Bowl is a lot harder to read than the college championship. The college championship was straightforward. I said it would have a connection to Super Bowl 50. It finished with a score summing to 85 points, 45-40. And with regards to the 45, this year the Super Bowl's again on a date with 45 numerology. So anyhow, the team that was wearing orange lost that, and I pointed out how the team that normally wears orange loses. If the Broncos were wearing orange in this Super Bowl, I would think they are more likely to lose. But instead, they're wearing white, and the Panthers are wearing black. And also in TV, there's a very popular show, Orange is the New Black. And right now in all these racially divisive stories, it's black Americans getting the short end of it. So in this Super Bowl that favors the Broncos, at least from the way I read it, I see it being a controversial game and a game that's meant to provoke, just like the rest of the stories, and just like sports are.